When I did my trailer breakdown of the Animal Crossing 3.0 update and Switch 2 upgrade pack, I didn't really talk about my overall opinions. I just wanted to highlight what was mentioned in the trailer and give a couple of thoughts as we went along, because it was a big news day for the fandom. However, I've had quite a bit of time to think now about my overall thoughts and honest opinion, and I want to share with you guys. Genuinely, the only thing I am interested in for the Switch 2 upgrade pack is the megaphone item. It makes sense that we can't use it with the regular Switch because the regular Switch does not have a mic. So if you want to be able to use the megaphone item, you obviously do need a Switch 2 because the Switch 2 itself has a mic. I also just learned in my research that the Switch 2 Pro controller does not have a built-in mic. It makes sense as to why not, but this whole time I thought it did. However, there is a headphone jack, so if you do have a 3.5mm mic or something, you can plug that in and use it if you really want to. Either way, that's really the only thing I care about. The improved graphics, like fine, whatever, it's great. It looks like less jagged, I guess. I'm visually impaired though, so like I don't really care about the improved graphics because like I can't really tell. And it's still capped at 30 frames per second. Yes, I know that the performance is better than the original Switch, especially if you have an island that has a lot of items on it. You probably won't experience as much pop-in, but still, it would be nice if they were able to let it take advantage of more of the hardware resources. Next, we have some Joy-Con mouse control compatibility coming our way. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, mouse controls are not anything that I ever think about. I do think it's neat and probably helpful to have it for custom design creation and drawing on the bulletin board, but I'm not going to use them. I personally find it fine to just decorate with the controller as is. I play docked 90% of the time, so I'm just using my Pro controller. I think the addition is great for people who are going to be using it. I do kind of wish that we could use it to control our player when terraforming, but that would mean that they would have to enable it to control our player fully, and that's not something they're gonna do. I also almost forgot about increased multiplayer, but like when I would play with friends all the time, we never really had a full island. There were never 8 of us. Maybe there were a couple of times, and there might have been people like waiting to rotate in and out, but it was never really a full house. The downside to increased multiplayer though is that you're gonna have to sit through the flight loading screen 11 times if you want the maximum amount of friends to come over, considering that the online infrastructure for Nintendo servers as well as the way that multiplayer is handled in this game are not the best. This is something that I think could be detrimental, not necessarily like to the game overall, but just to the multiplayer experience. The good thing is though, you can pick and choose. You don't have to have like 11 other people come over. You can close your gates. The other thing is the communication, where you can use the in-game chat and the webcam if you really want to. That's just not something I'm personally interested in. I'm sure that people are going to try it out, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of fun, and I think that it'll probably be better than using the Switch Online app to communicate. But also Discord is right there, and other voice chatting apps that you can use, like if you want to talk to people, or like you could FaceTime or do like a group phone call. It's something I guess that they're probably trying to do to compete with like other companies who have voice chat in their online games, and it makes sense because other Switch 2 games do support these features, so why wouldn't they bring it to Animal Crossing in the upgrade pack? But it's just not something that I'm personally excited about, and I won't be taking advantage of it. The Switch 2 upgrade pack is only about $5, so I guess it's like you get what you get, assuming you already own Animal Crossing New Horizons. If you don't, and you are buying the game for the first time and you want the Switch 2 upgrade pack, you are going to have to pay that extra $5 included in the price of the game, depending on your local currency. Let's move on though to the 3.0 update, because that was like the latter 2/3 of the trailer announcement, and we have a lot that I want to discuss here. The resort hotel on the pier looks awesome. I personally love it. I do hope that we can customize the exterior of it somehow, either change the colors or change the overall design. Something is telling me that that is not going to be possible though. I have seen some people online in the community complaining about how the resort doesn't go with their island's aesthetic. For somebody who doesn't have an island theme, such as myself, this really doesn't matter as much. My island is kind of like a vacation destination, sort of. I was going off of general coastal New England vibes because I did grow up in New England, and I do still go to a beach town every summer. However, there are people who have more niche themes like cottagecore, kidcore, older like Victorian or European old vibes, and the hotel doesn't necessarily go with everything. everything. And I get it. While they didn't show exterior design options in the trailer, I'm hoping that we do have some sort of control over that, kind of like how you can change the exterior of buildings, at least like the colors in Happy Home Paradise. I am very excited about Cap'n having more of a role and bringing his family along to help run the resort, though. It's really nice because up until now they haven't had anything to do apart from inviting them for coffee at the Roost and scanning them in at Harv's to get their posters. I am wondering if their updated designs are going to transfer over when you scan them in for coffee or at Harv's, although something tells me that that won't be the case. They might just show up how they looked prior. It doesn't really matter, but it would be a nice detail. However, I do wish that the minigames from New Leaf came back. There's still not a lot to do in multiplayer. I really miss the minigames from New Leaf. They offered a little bit of something to do with your friends every day as the tours changed, and it was a nice little incentive to play with friends. Considering Nintendo charges for Switch Online, it would be nice if there were actual things that we could do in multiplayer in Animal Crossing apart from just making up our own games or using Treasure Islands or whatever. I also liked the added detail of them playing a remix of the Tortimer Island theme in the resort lobby. I'm not sure how many of you caught that. A lot of people did, and I caught it like immediately when we were watching the announcement trailer. For those of you who are unaware of what Tortimer Island was, it was in New Leaf. It had multiplayer minigames, like I said, or you could do the minigames yourself and earn medals, kind of similar to this whole hotel ticket currency that we're going to have going on, except the way that you earned them was different. There was a shop you could buy special items from, and Tortimer Island itself was permanently in summer, meaning that you could catch summer bugs and fish to your heart's content and make a lot of money selling them. In my opinion, the concept of the resort hotel is kind of like Happy Home Paradise Light. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. The premise is very similar, and while you're going to be earning hotel tickets instead of Pokey, and you're going to be talking to Grams at the shop instead of Wardle, the concept, like I said, is a little bit kind of the same. You can't bring back as many features to your main island as you can with Happy Home Paradise. For example, there will be no partition walls, no pillars or counters, and you can't redo your villagers' homes on your island, much like you can with Happy Home Paradise. However, I do like the added concept of tourist villagers walking around. I think that's going to add a lot more life to the island. Villagers don't typically do anything, so I'm hoping that having the tourists are going to allow for more interactions between villagers and also updated interactions with furniture. Like maybe we'll see more activity happening. It's definitely going to liven things up. I am hoping that we can have a little bit more control over who comes to the hotel, or that we can swap people out. That would be nice, considering that we only have like 8 rooms, it looks like, and then if you go to the other tab, it looks like there's like an upgraded room, sort of. It has like sparkles. I'm assuming that's like suites, or maybe it has to do with the VIP amiibos that you can scan in, which is like essentially the NPCs, similar to how you scan them in at Paradise Planning for a vacation home. I also like that we have some control over the outfits that they wear with the mannequins, and I think that that's really cool that your friends can wear the stuff that you have on display. The pictures with everybody doing the fireworks on the pier were really cute, and having like matching outfits would be nice for photo ops or maybe themed things that you're going to be doing to make them fit in with your island. Specifically, being able to swap stuff out for the weather is nice as well. I do that on my island right now, where I change out the shirts that I have at the back of Able Sisters, because I designed like a bunch of sweaters and t-shirts. So I have like fall themed sweaters in the fall, holiday themed ones around Christmas, and t-shirts during the spring and summer. If you want to see any of my custom designs, my creator code is always in the description of every video. The only thing I don't fully understand when it comes to the hotel is the brand recognition box, expanding your brand recognition and having Cap'n ship stuff out for you. It almost reminds me of Gulliver's ship in Pocket Camp Complete, although slightly different. I'm wondering if Cap'n is going to bring stuff back, or if the only thing that we're going to get out of it is hotel tickets. I have a feeling that we're just going to get the tickets because they didn't cover anything else beyond that in the trailer, and I'm sure that it's just a way to like get extra tickets once you're done building up rooms. So that's nice because it means that you're going to have extra opportunities to earn stuff, and then you'll be able to like buy more stuff from Grams's shop. I also think it is so wild that they snuck in bulk crafting, like they showed it, but they didn't even talk about it. It was there on screen, but like the announcer didn't mention it at all. And if you read the release in the news app on Nintendo Switch, you'll see that they also confirm the ability to pull materials from storage. So right now when you craft items, you do need to have the materials on you in your pockets. You can keep extras in storage, but like it doesn't count towards whatever you're using to craft with. In the 3.0 update, however, we're finally going to be able to pull materials from storage, which is huge because it means that we don't have to be crafting next to a storage shed or in our house or whatever. It will just like be pulling it from whatever is in our storage units already. This is something that they should have had from day one, or at least something that should have been added in the 2.0 update when they added the storage sheds, but at least we're finally getting it now. This is definitely a huge game changer, but I still can't believe how long it took for us to finally get this feature. I am hoping it extends to customizing in bulk, although something tells me that that would be a little more nuanced because like you can pick different patterns for certain customization items. It's not like crafting things where you're using the same materials per item to craft. There are things that take a different amount of kits, or you can choose different designs or whatever. So I guess that like customizing in bulk might not be a thing. However, I'm also hoping that this means we could maybe like buy Nook Miles tickets in bulk, or like Bell vouchers in bulk, or buy more bulk items from the cabinet in Nook's Cranny, buy more bulk items from Leaf. All of these other quality of life changes would be great if it extended to that. Bulk crafting is great though. It's definitely going to save people time when making fish bait. I am looking forward to Rossetti's cleanup service as well. I think that's going to be very useful, specifically if you want to redo your island or if you want to clear away specific areas or redo your beaches or whatever. As shown in the trailer, we can choose the entire island, a specific spot, or the beaches, and he will ask if you want to clear everything away and sell it or put it in your storage or just leave it as is. People keep talking about how he can flatten your island. Literally nowhere in this and in none of the news articles released and in nothing official from Nintendo does it say anything about flattening your island with this service. As it is, he can't clear in-game pathing. It's very specific in that he can only get rid of custom designs, furniture, and nature items such as trees, shrubs, flowers. Not rocks, because there are a finite amount of rocks that can spawn on your island. The trailer outlined all of this and everything was written in like the press release as well as various gaming site articles. So I don't know where people are getting this thought that he can just flatten your island. I think terraforming is going to be much easier though with the sidestepping and backstepping that it looks like they're introducing, but it's still going to be tedious. I do wish that we had more of like a greater acre system, kind of like how you just plop stuff down in Happy Home Paradise, even though there's no real terraforming. I've talked about this a lot. I'm going to link some of my other content on it down in the description as well as up in the cards throughout this. Again, I am excited for his reset service. I think it's really going to help for clearing out your whole island. Like if you want to redo it, it's not going to help with the terraforming, which kind of sucks. But if you want to just like put everything in your storage and start anew, or sell everything on your island and start anew, I'm fine with that. It's better than nothing. Finally, the big thing is Slumber Islands. I am excited about this. However, I do have some questions. I'm glad that we have a multiplayer ability to like terraform and make our own island. It would be nice if we could also have others visit it, similar to how we do dream addresses. I don't know if there's going to be like a code that we can share where like people can just visit whenever like a dream address. They didn't show anything about it in the trailer. It would make sense if you could share your Slumber Island as a dream code, but knowing Nintendo, they probably won't make that happen. I'm glad that they're adding in this sandbox mode because this is actually something I wanted to do with my boyfriend, but he broke up with me and decided that he didn't want to get engaged and continue our relationship. A good friend of mine though does want to build a Slumber Island together, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Even just doing it in general, I think it'll be cool. It'll be a great way to like test out some designs and stuff. I like that we can choose the size of the maps as well, because sometimes working on a big space in a big island can be overwhelming. Having a smaller map with a smaller amount of space to play around with, I think would be really cute. Again, I'm wondering like how this is going going to work logistics wise? Can we use custom designs? Because if you're doing it with multiplayer, everybody's going to have different custom designs saved to their Nook phones. I'm assuming that we might not be able to do that. We might just be limited to the in-game pathing, but even so, that's okay. Considering also that you can like change the weather and the time of day, and we did see bugs flying around, I'm wondering if we can catch whatever is going to be spawning here, like the fish and the bugs. The other thing that I think is cool is putting down different sized trees natively. This is something I've wanted for a long time anyway on our main islands. It would be nice if we could do it there as well, but I don't think we're going to be able to. This is definitely like open-ended sandbox mode. However, Animal Crossing in this generation of the game, in New Horizons, is also more of a sandbox mode. It has definitely become a decorating simulator more so than it was in prior games. I feel like that kind of got rid of the main like heart of the game. Unfortunately though, like I said earlier, there really isn't anything to do in multiplayer unless you make your own games, which is fine. I mean, you can use the timer to make little competitions, you can play hide and seek with other people, you can like make giant board games, do like dice games with the dice item. I've seen people be very creative, and I've seen a lot of different challenges revolving around doing things with multiplayer. However, it would be nice if Nintendo added in some native things to do, much like the mini games from New Leaf. I know that not all prior games had something like that. That was definitely specific to New Leaf, but there's something to be said when the only thing you can do is tour each other's islands, take aesthetic photos, and now do a sandbox mode together. I am grateful though that that is going to be an option, but I do want to do more stuff with my friends. The Slumber Island thing is something I'm really excited about. I think it's a really cool concept that they're adding in. I'm hoping we have a little bit more freedom to choose who moves in, like who we can have living there, whether we're just picking who lives on our island or if we can use amiibo, or if we can choose from like a list of past villagers that lived here. And like I said, I'm wondering how this is going to work doing it with friends. Knowing Nintendo, I'm sure that there might be some limitations on that, but we're gonna have to wait and see. We have a whole host of collaboration items to talk about. The Zelda and Splatoon stuff. I think it's really neat that they're adding in villagers to the game that are new, exclusive to Amiibo, and that Cece and Viche are coming back from New Leaf, even though they look totally different, because I guess they're supposed to represent different characters from the Splatoon series. I'm not super versed in Splatoon. I did see some people talking about it online and in a couple of Twitch streams that I watched. The Zelda villagers look really neat. I think that the items are really cool. The Lego collaboration as well is something that I didn't really see coming. I mean, it makes sense because we do have the Animal Crossing Lego sets. I don't own any, but I am hoping to get the little mini set that has Goldie with her house. Goldie is my favorite villager. I think that the customization options for these are going to be something that I'm definitely going to take advantage of. They're not necessarily for me, like these items in particular, but I think they could go really well if you are into kidcore or something like that. I do want to collect them though, just to like have them, although I think they're just going to show up in the catalog. The other thing that kind of threw me was the inclusion of the retro gaming systems through hotel tickets, and then being able to play old games on them if you have a Nintendo Online subscription. I think that that's neat, but also I'm like, what's the point? If I want to play these games, I can probably find a way to do that. This was also a feature in the GameCube version of Animal Crossing, so for those that liked doing it in that game, I'm glad that you'll be able to do it here too. But also, Desert Island Escape and Puzzle League were right there from New Leaf. You could get a 3DS item, and I think there was another one too. I don't know if it was like the Wii or something else, where you could play Animal Crossing themed games in New Leaf. Desert Island Escape, I think, kind of relied on Amiibo, but you could play it without Amiibo, and it was almost like a survival sort of like board game from what I recall. I only played it a couple of times when I played New Leaf avidly, and I came to the scene late in the New Leaf era. It's a nice thing to be able to collect though. I think that the items themselves are going to make really cool additions to like gamer spaces or lounges or something. And considering Animal Crossing is very much a decoration simulator right now, it kind of fits right in. Last but not least though, I kind of forgot that we are getting expanded storage. We'll now be able to pay Tom Nook to upgrade our storage storage even more to hold a total of 9,000 items. I don't understand why they didn't go for 10,000 items because it was right there and it would have made a nice even number, but 10,000 is like a lot. This expanded storage is definitely going to help with Rossetti's cleanup service. I think that the two of them go hand in hand. Let me know what you guys think though overall, what you're most excited for in the 3.0 update. I know we didn't really talk about the Switch 2 expansion pack, but honestly neither did the trailer. There's not a whole lot to cover there. I think 3.0 is going to be something that really revitalizes the community, and I'm looking forward to everybody coming back to the game, seeing more content about it, playing with my friends again. I'm very active in the Pocket Camp Discord, and there is a section there for New Horizons. There was a group of us that would play a lot in early days of the game. We would like visit each other, we would have cataloging parties, we would catalog a bunch of items, there were a bunch of spreadsheets involved, we would like gift each other. It was really cute and fun, and everybody there is really excited about this update and getting back into the game again. It's like we're gonna get the gang back together. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.